Hey you guys, I have risen from the ashes of my hiatus to burn down my channel because today we are going to be talking critically about the Harry Potter franchise. Let's jump into it. Alright, I'm gonna be a shady bitch today because we're gonna pour some salt on the HB franchise and how I don't think these new movies are actually meant for the Harry Potter fans. So let's take out these shades and let's just jump into that salt. For background information, I know very little about Harry Potter. I have actually read the first book, although my brain likes to forget most of what happened. But let me just recall to you what I do remember. He is the boy who lived. Anything else I know about Harry Potter is from my friends, Tumblr, and Star Kids. If you haven't seen a Harry Potter musical, then where have you been? It is amazing. Go watch it. I love all of their musicals and 10 out of 10 would support again. Just saying. What we are going to discuss today is about the fact that I'm hearing a lot of heavy criticism from the Harry Potter franchise about these new movies. Well, especially this newer movie, The Crimes of Grindelwald. The Murder of Grindelwald. We'll look it up. Yes, The Crimes of Grindelwald. Now, instead of telling you all of the reasons why I don't really necessarily care for Harry Potter, we're just gonna jump right into the discussion. The biggest criticism that I'm getting from Harry Potter fans is that these newer movies, especially the newest one, don't feel like a Harry Potter movie. I hate to be that person stepping on little toes, but it's not going to. Not only does it not take place in a school, but it's also in a different time era, so you have to put that into the factor of how a movie feels. The 1920s are generally going to feel different than a movie that takes place in the 90s/2000s onward and upward, if you are catching my drift. But this is when this thing gets dicey, and I want to get it dicey real quick so we can just jump into the next point. But I don't think J.K. Rowling is actually good at world building. When I was reading the first book, if I had no idea what the magical castle was supposed to look like, well, like if I didn't have that iconic image in my head when I was talking about it, then I would have no idea what the Hogwarts looked like. Because I think she has this sense of vagueness about her writing. Her writing is very vague so that you can input your own ideas and put your own imagination in and so on and so forth. However, thinking about that, it works only well for like school settings when it takes primarily place in classrooms where you don't have to necessarily know every book or every stone or everything about it, and it takes place in like very small like parts of like England, and so it doesn't really matter that you don't know a whole much. However, she is now starting to have to think globally because she has Magic in America, which I honestly think is shit, but that's a discussion for another day. Now, thinking about it globally, we have to think about the fact that this world has magic societies. Obviously, we all know this, and we all, well, I guess most of us adore it. However, the way a magical society is structured in a school setting is going to be a lot different than its way it's structured in like a society as in a whole setting. And so definitely there has to be a big shift and a big change to encompass for the fact that this is not a school. It's not a school. People who have grown up in Harry Potter know exactly how this magic society works. They know how it's ins and it's outs and exactly how it's supposed to be. However, a person who is coming in for the first time is not necessarily going to exactly doubt the rules that have been set up in this new society. It's kind of like when you are in a school and you have a new professor. Those students who are used to the old professors are constantly going to be at war and at battle with the new professor because they're like, this is the way things have always been done. We have structured our classroom, we've constructed our whole little social group around the way things have been done, and you can't just come in and change anything. However, the new students or the freshmen might come in and they see this new professor as the only professors they've already known, and so they will willingly follow along with the new structure and the new society that has been set up for them. That is in a similar way how a lot of the Harry Potter fans are not necessarily keen on the way the world building directly contradicts with many of the points of the newer world because they're used to the way it used to be. Although technically, if we are going to look at it from like a story standpoint, technically, even though the Harry Potter world came first, this world comes first because of the time, and there's no like time jumping or anything like that. So technically this structure is what leads to that structure, and that's a whole paradoxical mess, so we're not going to touch that with an iron rod. I've noticed this in many like major things that have gotten prequels, like say the Lord of the Rings. I've noticed that a lot of people love the Lord of the Rings and they love it and they're like all about it and they're like yes, but when they see the Hobbit they're like sorry, this is trash. And I am definitely one of those people in the camp where I love the book, but when I watched the movie you could definitely tell that they were trying to up the Lord of the Rings. They were definitely trying to be like, we're just as good. It's like, guys, don't try so hard, please. But newer fans coming into this Harry Potter franchise are not going to question whether or not this world that they have established pertains to the world that we have previously seen, or you guys have seen in previous movies and or books, whichever ones. This kind of brings me to the phenomenon of the scene in the movie where there's a black curtain that just kind of like waves around all through the town, and like visually it was pretty stunning. I was like, I love it. But in the previous world building, it is established that you cannot reveal yourself to a Muggle, and this is not something you can't do, and that all that jazz. The no mages, okay, but like side notice, like Muggle sounds cool. Muggle sounds like, yeah, this is magic, this is here, but like J.K. Rowling really dropped the ball when she's like, let's call them no mages. What kind of dumb fuckery is a no mage? I get it, it's like no magic, but like honestly, it sounds like the dumbest name ever and I hate it. But back to the point. So there's the whole idea that all these like Muggles do not see this magic, and and they're like, what? Of course they would see it. Why aren't they reacting? Like nobody had this on, and I think it's the Clark Kent effect. I think it's like the fact that nobody realizes the fact that Clark Kent is Clark Kent and Superman at the same time. Like nobody realizes that because there's this idea that these people are probably inundated with so much magical or some things that are unbelievable that they will just write it off in their brains, and their brains will just be like, yeah, we saw that, but did we really see that? And there's this idea of do they really believe in what they saw? Now, a Harry Potter fan, die-hard Harry Potter fan, will not accept this. They're like, hey, remember that one time that someone did something and it showed that there was magic and everybody was like freaking out? They were just off the rockers, just hating it all and just like, why? And I get that. I understand that. However, if you're coming to the Harry Potter franchise for the first time, you're not gonna think that. What you're gonna think is like, oh, okay, I mean, I guess they just all were like spelled to not see, because magic leaves up a lot of vagueness. So what if this like black curtain can only be seen by those who are magical? It is spelled so that only the magical people can see it, and all this, and it's just like magic, but only magic that they can see. I don't know enough about the Harry Potter world to say if that is a thing or if that is not a thing. But also, since I'm new to the franchise, I don't necessarily care. I love complex magic world building stuff and all that. However, the way that the Harry Potter franchise and the way this new franchise is built on the idea that, yay, just magic. There's not like a lot of like, here are the rules of magic. This is what you can and can't do. This is how magic works. It doesn't do that. Like, I sometimes prefer that sometimes because I love to know limitations. I love when stories about magic play with limitations. Ugh, it just gives me shivers. But that's not the world building that has been set up in here. And when it didn't bother the people in Harry Potter in the first Harry Potter series is because they've already set up that world building, but this is taking a new riff on that say world building, and I just don't think people are happy about the way that basically J.K. Rowling's like, hey, frick you all that world building I previously did, we're gonna build a new world in Newt's name! And I'm kind of fine with it. I'm chill. But, I mean, I can get why people are like, hey, that world over there, I feel like it should be the same as this world, but it's not going to be. Even if it held the same rules, it would definitely be different than the world you know, because obviously you can't have the same rules of the world building as you do in a school, as you do in real society, because you ask anybody who's no longer in school, and God, the rules that you have in school are not the same as the rules you have in society. The rules I have learned in school are honestly very, very patronizing compared to the rules I have in society, because let me just tell you, I have not once since I have turned 18 asked someone if I can go to the bathroom. I have not raised my hand and been like, yes ma'am, I realize that I'm of age to know when I have to go to the bathroom. Can I please go to the bathroom? That has not yet happened yet. I mean, here's for hoping. Alright, let's go on to the next point. Magic! Gonna talk about magic! Alright, let's get talking about magic. So, I understand that magic is very integral to world building as well, but since it's such a heavy theme in obviously a wizarding world, we're gonna give it its own bullet point. So let's get going. As a person who has seen like maybe 3 minutes of all the Harry Potter movies, I can tell you right now that the magic we see in these movies doesn't feel like the original Harry Potter magic. And listening from actual Harry Potter fans, there's a lot of things that they're saying like doesn't exist in the original movies and books, like the dome that they cast on each other, or like the magic dust that just somehow finds people. But now hear me out. If this is your first introduction to the Harry Potter world, that magic looks fucking awesome! I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there like, whoop whoop a doo boo boo. I'm enjoying it. Newbies to the magic world and the franchise are not gonna give a hoot about whether or not if it matches up with the old magic or not, because this is the new magic, and it's also a magic that isn't surrounded by the confines of a school. I know I'm gonna go back to the world building for a second, but the magic you use in school would probably be a lot different than the magic you use on a daily basis. It's kind of like the essay writing you learn in high school. So like in school you learn very formal writing and you learn how to do that, and it's very well structured. But in real life, how many of us just like on the reg just write essays? Just are sitting here like, you know what? I understand what you said, Marsha, but like, here's a formulated essay given my 3 top points on why I think you're wrong and I should totally be able to date Bethany. It doesn't go like that. It doesn't, and I think that's kind of the feel that you get in this world. You kind of get that magic is more free-formed. It's less restricted by the rules of like professors and learning how to use magic. These people are not learners of magic. They're using magic just as they will because they're not learning new skills. They're already full-grown ass adults and they don't need some professor to tell them, hey, that's not the right way to do that spell. I don't think there's anything wrong with loving the way the Harry Potter magic works and the way that it's done, but if you're new to this series, if you're new to Harry Potter, you're really honestly not going to care because you haven't been set up in the way that like this is how magic works, this is how it's done. But also, unlike the Harry Potter series, so the Harry Potter series kind of has this idea that magic is exciting and it's full of wonder and it's full of enchantments, and I love that. I think that you guys should enjoy that. I think you should just appreciate it to your heart's content. But getting back to the thing, the magic here is a lot less structured. It's a lot less formulated and it's a lot less about like learning as much as seeing how magic is the biggest corruptor. Like that's definitely a heavy theme in this story. Like we've got a lot of like, of course, like for people who don't know, there's a lot of like heavy themes in here. There's like rape themes and child abuse things and things that you wouldn't necessarily want to introduce in a child's magical wonder story. By introducing magic like this, we're bringing in people who may not be totally about like school magic and just want kind of like fuck shit up magic. And I think that's definitely why it feels different, because it's not appealing to people who have come to love that structure, that school magic, that full of wonder and awe, and there's good and there's evil, and more of just like, this magic is magic corrupts all absolutely. And even if you think you're not corrupt, you're still corrupt. But I know people are gonna hate that. Oh well, we're leaving that in. The last and the final point of why I don't believe this movie was made for Harry Potter fans is I believe that J.K. Rowling is trying to hit a new demographic. Now, I love demographics. I'm a weirdo. I was a mass comm major and I love learning about demographics and what makes a person draw into something from their, say, demographic. Now, let me get something straight here. Harry Potter fans scare me. I don't look it. I definitely don't look it, but I'm terrified to post this video and get eaten alive by the piranhas. I have touched the untouchable, that is the Lord, your Savior, J.K. Rowling, in the holy book of Harry Potter. However, despite the fact that Harry Potter fans scare me, I think they're a very dedicated bunch. Harry Potter fans are like, through thick and thin, they are loyal as heck. Like, don't let anyone tell you wrong, because you can just scream like, Hufflepuff, and they'll be just like, yes, I'm here, I don't know what this is about, but I'm here for it. You can just put in Harry Potter in the title and they're just like, this is the shit. However, there is an untapped market of people who don't necessarily like Harry Potter and would never think about actually contributing to the Harry Potter world. And that's where this new series comes in. Because while it may cling on to some of the things that make the Harry Potter world, like the castles, the wand, the dumblest of doors, the snake, which, let me ask, did anyone ask for that? Even the non-Harry Potter fans are like, maybe no? But the thing is, if you enjoy the Harry Potter franchise, there's just so much to know. There's so much lore. There's so much history. There's just so many hidden facts. There's just so much that you have to know. And I'm a big believer that if I read a book, I should be able to read that book, understand completely without having to read anything else. That is if it's like the first book in the series. Like if it's like the 7th book, then obviously I should definitely read before that, but the first book, definitely. If I watch a movie, unless it's a series, unless it's like the second one of the series, I should be able to watch that movie and not have to know a single thing about anything else in the world. And I think that's kind of where it's hitting at. There's this demographic of people who don't care about Harry Potter and won't care about Harry Potter that are being pulled in because they don't have to know anything about Harry Potter to know about this world. The way that J.K. Rowling is very capitalizing on the success of her series, and I'm not saying that she can't, I'm just saying that she is. More and more Harry Potter things will come out. And I think they will continually come out until the day that J.K. Rowling dies, and then probably even after that. And if there is an untapped demographic, if there's an untapped market of people who just generally don't care about school magic, which is me, I love school, but I loathed school stories about high school. Even when I was in high school, I was like, oh no, can I just read something about like magic kids but not in school? And so what she's doing is going into an untapped demographic that necessarily wouldn't want to be a part of this franchise and making it accessible to them without having to know all of this lore and all of that. Because if you notice, some of the lore that she's got in there, she's just like throwing in the trash. She's just like, nope. And by doing that, and by saying that you don't have to know anything about that world to have this world accessible, brings in a new demographic of people who might have been scared because they didn't start the series when it first happened. They don't want to read the books. JK's like, I got you, fam. You don't worry about that. Don't worry about it, and focus on the Nifflers, the Newt, the Theseus. JK is basically trying to capture the audience of the hesitant, the demographic of people who would rather not watch movies about magic, and making magic more accessible to them and through them, especially because of the fact that one of the characters in the story is a non-magic user, which is something that we didn't get to see in the Harry Potter franchise. Now, we're at the final thoughts. As a mass comm major, or a mass comm graduate, it's weird to say that. As a mass comm graduate, I'd be remiss to say this movie is perfect. It does the storytelling well, but does it do it well enough? At times, no. There are ill-fitted, like, close-up shots that just don't fit the moment and create straining moments when there should be none. The music is lackluster, especially for a Harry Potter movie. I think that some of the flashbacks that were given, especially for Letty, I don't know, I just felt like they could have been placed better elsewhere. I thought the movie went on just a little bit too long. It was a 2.5 hour movie. That's a long ass time to be sitting in the theater, especially for a sequel, y'all. Like, however, I think that structurally, story-wise, it was decent. Was it the best movie ever? No. But it was a good enough movie that somebody who is not A, very critical of movie going, or B, is not a Harry Potter fan, would come out enjoying it. And I think that is kind of the main purpose of this new movie franchise. The Harry Potter fan base is a very strong one, and no matter what is going to be pushed out, we already know that they're going to be lining up, having the first tickets, and ready to go. This franchise is getting people who normally wouldn't participate in the Harry Potter franchise and get them to participate in the Harry Potter franchise. Before this movie franchise, I was all like, I am never going to participate in this franchise. I don't care about it, it's not for me. And now I'm sitting here like, you know, I love Newt. I think he is my baby boy. I think he is spectacular and I love him, and if you touch him I will murder you. And then I'm sitting here like, you know, if you don't think I would fuck with Theseus, you are fucking wrong. Also, I've never wanted to buy anything that was remotely Harry Potter related, but if you give me a Niffler, I swear to God, I think I'm gonna be the happiest person ever. I really sincerely want a Niffler. Like, I want a little plushy Niffler, and I want to name it Ned. Ned the Niffler. And I just want to, like, look at it and love it and enjoy its embrace. I think JK won. She won this battle of getting people into the franchise that normally they wouldn't think to, and she's just gonna keep having these people stay around, whether she changes it and she breaks down the world building and does it over and over and over and over and over. Hey, I hope I didn't piss off every Harry Potter fan in the world right now, because that'd make me a little bit sad. But you know, here we are. I'm just enjoying my life. If you like this video, then please give me a thumbs up. And you know, don't be too mean to me in the comment sections. I mean, you can definitely say that I'm what is it, like a mudblood? Is that the term? I don't know. Tell me how you feel about these movies. I know that a lot of Harry Potter fans are extremely upset about it, and I get you. I understand where you're coming from, but like, I'm not coming from there. You're coming from the street and coming here, and I'm like over here, and here we are. But that's all I've got booked, so I'll see you in the next video. Woo! So this is just a small side note. This had nothing to do with the video, but I really wanted to add it in. So these kids, they're walking out, and there's obviously like a boat crashing scene in there, and like, I didn't even mention that in like my whole video, but like, there's that whole backflash was a mess. It was an utter mess. So, but as I was leaving, these girls were talking. They're like, yes, I think the boat that they were on was the Titanic. Okay, so there's several reasons why that is wrong. The first big major reason why it is wrong is the storyline takes place in the 1920s. The Titanic crashed in 1940. So how, even if it was like the late, you're still gonna have like, it's not gonna be enough time for Credence to be as old as he is. Like, it makes no sense. And I just was sitting there and was like, are like people like so desperate to like actually put like Harry Potter in this world? Because like, this is probably a video for another day, but like, Harry Potter, you need to realize that like, it stands on its own in its own world. Like, it's supposed to be a part of our world, but let's be honest, people who are graduating from like Hogwarts, like, what are they doing? They're not equipped to deal with real life. They have no skills to deal with real life. So unless they go into the wizarding world, they have no way to like be fully equipped with real life skills. They don't even know how to do math. They probably don't know how to do laundry, because like, they got magic. But like, yeah, we want to equivalent it and put it like into the real world and be like, that was the Titanic, wizards. But let's be honest, if wizards actually cared about the human world, JK's world would look a lot different than our world, because you have to think about that if you're adding magic into world. But that's a video for another day. Love you guys so much. See you in the next video.